You ask AI a question. A few seconds later, the answer appears. You copy it. You use it. You move on. It feels like your brain just became faster. But the real question is far stranger. What happens when a machine becomes easier to think with than thinking alone? For most of human history, solving a problem required friction. You had to remember things, compare possibilities, make mistakes, sit with confusion long enough for an answer to slowly take shape. Today, some of that effort can disappear with a single prompt. Need an email? AI writes it. Need an explanation? AI gives you one. Need ideas? Before your own mind has finished searching, a list is already waiting. That can be incredibly useful, but your brain has always adapted to the tools around it. And when a tool takes over part of a mental task, your brain may begin changing what it spends effort on. Think about a calculator. Once you trust it to multiply large numbers, you stop doing the multiplication yourself. That does not mean calculators destroyed mathematics. It means the job changed. Instead of performing every calculation, you decide what should be calculated and whether the answer makes sense. AI may be creating a similar shift, except this time, the tool is not only handling numbers. It can draft arguments, summarize information, suggest decisions, explain ideas, and imitate the kind of language your own thinking uses. That makes the boundary much harder to notice. Researcher Hao Ping Li and colleagues studied this question by surveying 319 knowledge workers who used generative AI in their jobs. They collected 936 real examples of people using AI for work. And one pattern stood out. When people had more confidence in the AI, they reported engaging in less critical thinking. But when they had more confidence in their own ability to perform the task, they reported more critical thinking. That does not mean AI automatically makes you think less. The researchers found something more interesting. AI appears to change where the thinking happens. Without AI, you may spend effort gathering information, producing an answer, or building something from scratch. With AI, some of that work can move toward checking the output. Is this accurate? Does this actually answer the question? What did the machine misunderstand? What should be changed? Your brain can move from creator to editor, from builder to supervisor. And sometimes that is exactly what you want. Imagine writing a routine email. You already know what it needs to say. Having AI create the first draft may simply save time. But now imagine asking AI about something you barely understand. The answer appears polished. It sounds confident. The sentences connect perfectly, and that creates a strange problem. It can feel like understanding before you actually understand. Your brain likes shortcuts. It always has. If something in the environment can remember information for you, you do not need to hold all of it in your head. If a map can guide you through a city, you do not need to memorize every turn. If your phone stores a number, you may stop remembering the number yourself. Psychologists call this cognitive offloading. It simply means moving part of a mental job outside your own brain. Humans have been doing this for thousands of years. Writing is cognitive offloading. A shopping list is cognitive offloading. A calendar is cognitive offloading. Even asking another person for advice can be cognitive offloading. So AI is not creating the behavior. It is making the behavior extraordinarily powerful. A notebook can remember what you tell it. AI can respond. It can reorganize your thoughts, finish your sentence, challenge an idea, or give you an answer before you have formed one yourself. And that last possibility creates the twist. Effort is not always wasted time. Sometimes effort is the process that builds the skill. When you struggle to remember something, compare two explanations, or work through a confusing problem, you are not merely waiting for the answer. You are practicing the machinery used to reach it. Remove every difficult step, and you may get the destination faster. But you may practice the journey less. Think about physical exercise. A machine that carried you everywhere would make transportation easier. But easier transportation would not automatically make your legs stronger. Mental effort is not exactly the same as physical exercise, but the basic trade-off is useful. Convenience and capability are not always identical. And this is why the most important question may not be whether you use AI. It may be how you use it. There is a major difference between asking, "Give me the answer," and asking, "Here's my answer. What am I missing?" In the first case, the machine begins the thinking. In the second, your brain has already entered the problem. There is also a difference between asking AI to make a decision and asking it to challenge one. One replaces part of your reasoning. The other can create more reasoning. That distinction may become increasingly important because AI is getting easier to use. You no longer need to search through 10 websites. You can ask one question. You no longer need to stare at an empty page. You can generate the first paragraph instantly. You no longer need to spend 20 minutes brainstorming. You can request 20 ideas in seconds. The friction is disappearing. And usually, that feels wonderful. But friction was sometimes the moment when your brain had to search, to retrieve, to compare, to invent, to notice that something did not make sense. So perhaps the future is not a battle between human thinking and artificial intelligence. Perhaps it is a question of division of labor. What should the machine remember? What should it generate? What should it challenge? And what should you deliberately continue doing yourself? Because the goal of a useful tool is not necessarily to remove your brain from the process. The best tool may be the one that removes boring effort while preserving meaningful effort. You can let AI draft something and still question every important claim. You can ask it for ideas and still create your own first. You can use it to explain a difficult concept and then close the window and explain that concept back in your own words. You can make the machine do more without automatically making yourself do less. And that may be the strange thing happening right now. For thousands of years, human tools mostly extended your muscles, your memory, or your ability to communicate. Now you have a tool that can participate in the thinking itself. So the next time you ask AI a question and an answer appears almost instantly, notice how easy it feels. Then ask yourself one more question before you move on. Did the machine just help you think? Or did it think before you had the chance?